Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. This is another collective combo for today. We got Shabuzi here right now. But anyway, we're gonna talk about avoiding spiritual psychosis, right? And I have notes to keep my brain going, and I even have learning things. This is a very important topic. I am speaking from experience, so please trust what I say. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna read what I wrote. Okay. Third eye. So when your third eye starts awakening, okay, we did the consciousness, coming into consciousness, in a video. Oh, it's right here. We talked about consciousness and then like your conscience. Okay. So, if you haven't watched that, I believe it was also a collective collective convo. Collective convos are like hard things that humans don't want to deal with, kind of like big shadow work themes. Collective coffee is when we talk about what's going on in the world and what we can do. Okay, so just so you know, welcome. Hi. Okay. When your third eye starts to open, okay, that's the pineal gland. That's the ability to see things beyond what you can literally see. Some people go crazy, myself included. What happened to me was it was way too much information. I started decolonizing or coming into consciousness. That's why I know that shadow work, decolonizing, and coming into consciousness are like all the same thing, right? So let's go ahead and tackle these charts quickly that I have, and then I don't know how to conceptualize this. Okay. So ego deaths are gonna happen. In ego death, I did a video about ego deaths. You're also gonna have a dark night of the soul, which different language for essentially the same thing. It's when you're presented with new information and you have to decide if you're going to accept this new information into your reality as part of your truth or foundation, or if you are rejecting this information because of already held beliefs, right? So either way, depends on, life is a choose your own adventure. There's free will involved here. So you can do whatever you want, but going crazy and ending up in psych wards is not fun. Remember, I am speaking from experience. Be fucking careful. All right. So when your third eye opens, you're going to have ego deaths. You're going to go through dark nights of the soul. You're going to call yourself out on your own shit. You're going to recognize where your uncles and your aunts and your mom and your dad and, your family was fucked up or in the wrong, especially if you have colonial lineage, okay? If you don't have colonial lineage and your family or line has been the victim of colonial lineage, that is trauma-based, not perpetrator based, right? So there is still clearing and healing to do, but it's done more through love and reclamation than it is fist fighting your ancestors who came before you, being like, what the fuck have you done? All right, which is colonial lineage stuff. So anyway, your connections and your understanding are going to be a little bit wishy-washy because you are reprogramming your brain. I just did a video about reprogramming your brain, kind of trying to conceptualize what this process looks like when you are decolonizing, coming into consciousness, whatnot. Psychosis is something to avoid, okay? Take your time, pace yourself, take care of yourself. If you're presented with new information that brings up shadow feelings within you, makes you feel guilty, makes you feel bad, whatever, shame, guilt, anger, there is righteous rage, and then there's downright, toxic anger. Whatever feelings, darker feelings come up within you, that's part of the clearing. So when it comes up, just be like, okay, breathe through it, allow it. Lots of people in our society have been taught and indoctrinated into not even feeling, right? Like feeling is something that's not worthy or okay, when in reality, your feelings are your internal compass for whether you know something is right or wrong, okay? We just did one about ethics and morals. Which one was that under? I don't know. Anyway, all right. So I have some photos. The point is to allow information to come and go, to be an open channel, to be able to receive and also allow things that no longer serve you to go, whether that's a belief system, family, friend, indoctrination, programming, whatever it is. Allow it to go once you learn or know that it's not cool. Big example I always give is when I found out that the founding fathers who are on our money, on our currency, were slave owners. I was devastated. And that I allowed myself to go through that grieving process because it was just like I was lied to by every single motherfucking person in my life about these assholes. Why? And then I chose with that information to dive deeper, to figure out what's going on, right? That's the process when you choose to dive deeper, that you need to be careful about not doing too much. You need to pace yourself, okay? This is what I mean by staying open to receiving. We talked about energy. Energy is everything. I made a video about that too already. Energy is not tangible, though. You can't see it. You can feel it. But if you've been disconnected from your feelings because of trauma or whatnot, then when you have feelings, it's immediately something that you want to push down. You want to deny. You want to avoid. And that's going to cause blockages because energy is supposed to be moving always, always. Remember, we are electromagnetic beings. So when you're in the presence of someone that has blocked their energy, you are more than likely going to feel some sort of frustration because of that blockage, right? It's nothing to get butthurt about, though. Everyone has free will. People can block themselves if they want. The point is, though, is that if you allow yourself to be open to receiving information and allowing things to go as they need to in this process, right? I always say we're like trees, so it's going to be coming always, always, right? This is a constant process from everything. And the direction of my arrows don't matter. I tried to do it as possible, whatever this word is. All right, but I want us to, okay, so think about this. I made this chart months ago when I still had these big post-its. So if everyone is coming into consciousness, okay, so here's a person. I only did like 3 people, but every person has their own ideas about all of these systems that humans have created. Okay? And there's only 3 people on this paper, and look how fucking entangled it is. Okay, when we come into consciousness, we allow ourselves to understand this information. It's less of an identifying factor and more of a, I fit into this category. It's a detachment, which I also made a video about. It's a detachment from this being, from these human systems, right? Because humans created these things. But like, this is like godly, right? Like this is, I hate that word. To me, God is an acronym for galaxies and other dimensions. So the energy is everything. Systems have tried to recreate what already is innate to being a human by creating these systems. But we are still all affected by these, right? Of course. So I called this disorganized chaos because the systems and the powers that be know that this is how they keep us apart. Here's another chart. So this is how the system of United States works. Everyone's pitted against each other, right? With these identifying factors, which is also here. So when you come into consciousness and when you become aware of the lies, when you start to decolonize and detach from how these things that are man-made, and you get back into your spiritual practices or whatever it is that your divinity, right? Psychosis can happen because your brain has been set up a certain way by the system, right? Okay, moving on. Dimensions, entities, energies. I think we already talked about that. essentially. Understanding what your role is here to support humanity and collective liberation as you are coming into consciousness and decolonizing. Keeping that mission, for lack of a better word, I hate that word in these contexts, keeping your understanding what your path is, understanding what your role is by understanding your skills, understanding your passion. Really, you are the center of your own universe, essentially. You're also going to be thinking from a micro scale to a macro scale. That's another thing, is like, when all of this thinking is occurring, you need to have healthy coping practices. They don't necessarily have to be healthy. You can choose toxic ones, but that's going to, again, serve as more blockages. All right, spiritual psychosis. Okay. Reorganizing or recognizing within yourself. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the things that can make you, some of the things you can notice if you are falling into a state of psychosis. First of all, things are going to be really fast in your head. That's not good. Again, you want to pace yourself with this. You don't want to be making connections until you're ready. I mean, when you're first starting this process, you want to take a little bit at a time. You want to rest. You want to take extra good care of your body because, again, you're an energetic being and you want to allow your information and energy to flow, but you have to decolonize from all of these systems. And you want to take your time doing that. Anyway, what that looks like physically on this physical plane, recognizing within yourself, not sleeping is a huge one. No appetite. People call these ascension symptoms, but you really have to be careful because these can absolutely catapult you into psychosis. Been there, done that, got locked up. Wasn't fun. Okay? Not sleeping, very disorganized, can't really ground yourself. If you need help with grounding, there are stones you can use. Argonite is a good one. The darker stones, the browns, the deep reds, like rubies, or, well, rubies aren't really easy to come by. Earth tones, essentially. I mean, green is your heart chakra, so that would help too. But that's what this is. This is the process of getting out of your mind and reclaiming your whole body, your heart. This is the process of coming into consciousness, is leading with your heart, leading through love, treating others the way you wish to be treated, things like that. If you're in a chaotic psychosis spiral, you're going to not be sleeping, you're going to be ungrounded, you're going to be disorganized, you're going to be blunt, you're going to be making connections that, I really want to be careful about this part, because you're going to be making connections that others outside of you who are not yet in a state of consciousness are going to be alarmed by. And that's where people are going to try to exert control over you. That's when people's concern is going to put a layer of control over you. That's what happened to me. So be careful who you're talking to. Highly recommend journaling to get things out, whether you type it or write it or voice. That'd probably be a really good way to voice note it, to record yourself with the things that you're thinking. Because some sort of release needs to happen. You need to allow yourself to be releasing. So by writing or typing, and it doesn't need to necessarily make sense to you, especially if you are coming into spiritual gifts, right? And that's a whole nother fucking conversation. We're just talking about avoiding spiritual psychosis. Also, substance abuse is a big one, or self-medicating. If you are recognizing those patterns within yourself that you are using something more, or starting something fresh, I would highly recommend staying away from uppers if you are in the process of coming into consciousness. narcotics, right? So anything that from Adderall to Coke to what else is an upper? I mean, I wouldn't use downers either, but like, even weed can support it, but again, you need to know what strain you like. You need to know those things about yourself before you start trying to use that. Also, remember that if you are smoking weed, your consciousness is going to be opened already. You are going to be thinking differently already. So you need to just moderation. Be careful. Eating, you're not going to really have an appetite because your mind's going to be moving so fast. And you are going to think that you are a prophet. That's when you need to be careful what you say to other people if you do not want to get incarcerated. A lot of people talk about Christ consciousness as a state of being that you get to, that you reach, right? State of Christ consciousness is the teachings of Christ, literally Jesus, right? If you're not a religious person, I understand. I also have gotten to a global understanding of this. It wasn't just Jesus, it was all the prophets. All the prophets were sent here to support their people. It was a smaller scale world, right? That's why this is so... we didn't have the World Wide Web. We weren't connected within systems of oppression the way we are now when prophets came to talk to their people. And those people were told to do these teachings of love, of, spirituality, shit we do over here. When I went crazy the first time, which again, this language is not useful to this process, but that's what the system calls it, is when you fall off, right? Crazy, psychotic, fucking bitch. No. Anyway, when going through, I remember in 2009, when I was getting all of these downloads, I was decolonizing. I didn't have the language for it. But I had a theory that came through to me, and it was like this universal understanding that God was real. And it scared the shit out of everyone around me. But I'm like, why? We go to church. You guys go to church every Sunday. Why would you be weirded out that I can prove God exists? And it was really like a Pythagorean theorem, like the triangle. It was like a Pythagorean theorem of, and I think there's a little girl, a younger girl, a black girl, who just proved Pythagorean theorem in like different ways. And she also just proved some really big calculus things. Anyway, again, when you start talking like this, people are gonna be like, you might need to keep shit to yourself just to safeguard yourself. But if you are going into psychosis, the ways that you can reground yourself are slowing down, taking care of yourself, watch the daily healing, get leadership from people who have done it. I've put out a ton of shit to support people so that they can avoid spiritualized psychosis, because again, it fucking sucks. Also, the goal is to stay open to receive and also give, but that process, you don't want to become an open channel. This is going to take, this and this are essentially the same, but there's so much work, okay? You don't want to be open to receiving everything. You need to have discernment in this process. And discernment is going to come with time and practice, right? Okay. Oh, look, I got your new wagon for your doctor's appointments. Because the kitty, I'll put it together after this video, okay? I'm super stoked on that. You okay? You want to go outside? It's cold out. You need to put a coat on. Alright, give me a sec, okay? Because I'm finishing up right here. Also, avoiding the love and light and I can do no wrong because I'm an angelic being is bullshit. You are existing on this planet of oppression and enslavement for a reason. So acknowledging that within yourself, again, that's going to bring those shadow aspects. That's going to bring badass feelings. But feelings are feelings because, again, that's your internal compass telling you something's off. That's it. That's all. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to end it here because, all right. But yeah, allowing mystery is also really important. You don't need to know everything. That's one of the things Psychosis can make you go a little, you know, like I'm thinking of Doc from Back to the Future. When you have high intelligence, other people aren't on that level. High intelligence is not knowing everything. That's absolutely opposite. Again, that's within that ego death of like, I don't need to know that, or I'm better than that, whatever. Allowing mystery is that faith, right? That blind faith. And that has a really religious connotation. But I got to go outside and play. So allow mystery, recognize that you are human, you do have human scope. But within these systems, you are able to liberate yourself. Also, you are going to be gaslit. The fuck? You're going to be gaslit. All right? So once you find people who support you, like if you're watching this, stay over here. This is a whole different vibe. Okay? I will not gaslight you. I've been gaslit to hell and back several times. So yeah, people are going to gaslight you. Don't talk to everyone about your awakening process, because the more input you get from negative people, again, that's going to knock you off your rocker. Stay grounded. The earth wants to support you. Every time you feel like you're going a little head in the clouds, go put your feet on the earth, like barefoot. Ground yourself. Utilize the elements in those times, earth, air, fire, water, to support you finding your balance again. Okay? Don't go crazy. Be careful. Have a good one.